In the quiet Cheshire village of Rode Heath, on the night of May the 6th, 2022, a young couple had just returned home from a party. But within an hour, their future together would be destroyed. By 11:40 p.m, 24-year-old Ryan Watson lay dead in the road, and his fiancée, Alice Wood, a promising university student, was under arrest for murder. Ryan was just 24 years old. He'd grown up in Cheshire, on the edge of the Staffordshire moorlands. Friends and neighbours described him as kind-hearted, helpful and devoted to his work. He was a support worker for Headway, a brain injury charity, spending his days helping others rebuild their lives. For those who knew him, Ryan was a dependable presence, a young man with a warm nature and a steady future ahead. Alice Wood was 23, a philosophy student at Manchester University. She was academically gifted, described as clever, quiet and ambitious. Some believed she had the potential to study further at Cambridge. To her family, she was a bright young woman who had travelled, studied, and seemed destined for a promising career. By most accounts, Alice was thoughtful and studious, not someone you would ever associate with violence in any way. In October 2021, the couple had taken the next step in their relationship. They bought a modest home together in Rode Heath for £120,000. It was meant to be the start of something long-term, the kind of milestone every young couple dreams of. A place to settle, to plan, to build a life side by side. But behind closed doors, their relationship was not without its tensions. Friends would later speak of disagreements, of jealousy, of arguments that simmered below the surface. Nothing, however, could ever have prepared anyone for what was about to happen that Friday night, when a celebration turned into confrontation, and confrontation turned into something far worse. On the evening of May the 6th, 2022, Ryan Watson and Alice Wood travelled from Rode Heath to Hanley in Stoke-on-Trent. They were attending a birthday party linked to the charity Ryan worked for, Headway. Friends remembered the night beginning like many others: drinks, conversations and laughter. But somewhere in the course of the evening, tensions began to rise. Accounts differ. Some say Ryan had clicked with another woman at the event, sparking jealousy. Others suggest it was Alice who was accused of flirting. What's clear is that by the time the couple had returned home to Rode Heath later that night, emotions were running high. An argument followed, one that would escalate fatally. It was around 11:30 that evening when neighbours became aware of something outside the couple's home. CCTV later revealed a shocking sequence. Alice Wood, behind the wheel of her Ford Fiesta, drove at Ryan, not once, not twice, but 3 times. The first time, she reversed into him, knocking him off balance. Ryan managed to stay on his feet. However, the second time, she drove straight at him, striking him head-on and sending him onto the bonnet of the car. He got up again, but then the third impact, the one that would prove fatal. This time, Ryan was trapped beneath the front bumper, dragged for over 160 metres before Alice finally came to a stop. Shocked residents rushed to help. One woman recalled Alice knocking on the door, distressed, saying, "Please phone an ambulance. I think I've run over my boyfriend." When they reached the scene, Ryan was trapped under the vehicle. He was unresponsive. For those first at the scene, it was a sight they would never forget. Police and paramedics arrived shortly afterwards, but for Ryan Watson, there was nothing more they could do. When the police arrived at the couple's home in Rode Heath, they found Alice Wood in a highly distressed state. Body cam footage released later, shows her sobbing, covering her ears and telling officers, "It's fine, I deserve it." She was arrested on suspicion of murder.
Right, okay, so Alice, based on the circumstances that we found out already, okay, I'm going to arrest you on... No, listen to me, okay, I'm going to arrest you on suspicion of murder, okay, so you don't have to say anything, but behind your fence, you don't mention now something later on in court.
Officers noted she smelt of alcohol, and at times she told them, "You should just shoot me in the head." At her trial in Chester Crown Court, prosecutors described how Alice had used her Ford Fiesta as a weapon. The jury saw the CCTV evidence for themselves. 3 separate impacts, each escalating. Wood's defence argued it had been a tragic accident. She had lost control in the heat of the moment. But after weeks of evidence, the jury rejected her version of events. Ryan Watson was just 24 years old, was remembered by friends and family as kind-hearted, helpful, and dedicated to his work at Headway. In statements after the verdict, his family said they had finally got justice for their beloved son. Alice Wood, once a bright philosophy student with ambitions of further study at Cambridge, was found guilty of murder. She now faces a life sentence for her actions. A promising future destroyed in a moment of uncontrollable anger. And while this case is shocking, it also highlights something rarely spoken about. Domestic abuse is often framed as male violence against women, and it is in so many cases. But men too can be victims. Ryan Watson's death is a devastating reminder of that abuse, control, and violence in relationships that can take on many forms. No one should ever be overlooked. Ryan was 24 years old. His life was cut short, not by chance, but by someone he trusted and loved. And that's what makes this case so difficult to come to terms with. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic abuse, support is available. Don't suffer in silence. So, what do you make of all this? A car used as a weapon. Can you imagine that? Do you think Alice Wood just snapped in the heat of the moment, was acting out of sheer rage, or do you think there was something darker at play? A streak of narcissism or something more calculated? Anyway, what do you think about this case? And what do you think about Alice? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate your support. See you in the next one. Cheers.